And we are thinking aloud again. I got my team together again. I got my rookie squad, and we got a new member. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. I am Mark Bueno. I am the owner of Thinking Aloud, and I'm going to let everybody else introduce themselves. You start.
I am the Cub reporter, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I forget a lot of stuff.
This is the new member, Ryan Villano. I'm known as the Joker, and I am the owner of nothing. So
You're the owner of everything. This is my future nephew. He wanted to be a part of this, which makes me very excited because you guys know this is a passion project of mine. And he actually wanted, and actually the Cub reporter brought him. I didn't even know. He brought him to the team. I told you guys we were going to have a great big team. We have a lot of players. We have a lot of people that want to be involved, and now we got a new one.
Yeah,
and we got a good one. This man is very intelligent. He's a good man, and I
Can I mention why I wanted to be part of this?
Yes,
go for it, please.
Yeah,
this is the part.
I knew that we have a big Elvis fan over here. And me, myself, I am a lover of music, but also just movies in general. And then specifically, I'm a huge fan of Baz Luhrmann. And as much as I loved the movie Elvis, I wanted to hear the perspective of an actual Elvis fan. And I don't know, personally, I don't know a bigger Elvis fan than the gentleman to my left.
And this is what makes Thinking Aloud, so great is there's a cross section here. We have a moviegoer versus a guy who I'm very in love with Elvis Presley. He would probably be uncomfortable if he was still alive with how much I love Elvis Presley. So it's really great because you're going to get two different versions, or I don't know, what am I looking for? Perspectives, thank you, of the movie from a fan and from a cinephile who knows the artistic styles of the director. So, having said that, we're keeping with the thing that we've been doing, and I let these kids write the points out, and then we just go off of that. So, Cub.
Oh, okay. So, what we are going to first do is, how did you like the movie?
I'll let the Joker start, man.
All right, how did I like the movie? So first of all, short answer is I love the movie. I don't say that for too many movies. I am when I say that I love something, I sincerely mean that I love something. And then I knew pretty early on that I would love the movie. And as soon as the ending credits rolled, I pretty much turned over to my fiance and I said, I love this movie.
Great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great. So, you.
I thought the movie was really, really good because when I first watched the movie, I was kind of excited because I didn't know that much about Elvis. You see, my Uncle Mark did talk to me about Elvis, but he didn't go through his entire life. Oh, no! He totally didn't go through his entire life story, so I thought it was really good because I like the story movies. I thought Bohemian Rhapsody was good, so that's why I enjoyed it a lot.
And that was is that what you compared it to?
Yeah, because they're not the same.
They're not.
They're really not the same, but they're both the same genre where it's trying to go through the perspective of Freddie Mercury for Bohemian Rhapsody and Elvis Presley for Elvis.
Okay. All right. So is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. So
I'll allow it.
I have very good. Yeah. I'm gonna beat you. You're lucky nobody runs into a wall around here. Wait, did you do that 5 minutes ago?
Come on.
Yeah, that's what I do. It's stylistically, I thought it was a little too much, but I really loved the direction that the director took it with. I thought he could have took his foot off the gas a little bit, but I also don't know who would have handled this better. And so we'll talk this in the epilogue. We'll speak to this. It should have been 2 movies in my opinion.
Yeah.
It should have been 2 movies. It should have been him, before and after he went into the army.
Imagine if you were the director.
It's so much, because they blow through so many things. Did I like the movie? I loved it. And I think they should throw every Oscar possible at Austin Butler. Everybody, in my opinion, was very good. I have real issues with some of the acting choices.
We'll go on that later.
I imagine you're going to say Hanks.
Yes, sir. But it was a good movie that took a good... I think that the director made a really good choice in kind of showing that the love-hate relationship between Colonel Tom Parker and Elvis Presley and how they needed each other and how they destroyed each other at the same time. And I really enjoyed the movie. My expectations were high. They were never going to be what I wanted. I was telling Ryan this off the air. I'm sorry, the Joker off the air, that it was never going to be as good as I wanted it to be unless I wrote it myself. But I thought it was really, really good. And then that kid, man, I was telling my sister and Maddie, I have really high expectations as both because I love actors and because I love Elvis. And I didn't think anybody was going to meet my expectations. And this kid was unreal.
Amazing.
Off
Unreal.
the top of my head, I cannot think of a more difficult role, not necessarily just because of the difficulty and the complexity of the particular person, but because of how many people do Elvis impersonations, know his mannerisms.
Thank you very much.
No, exactly. We got Elvis impersonators here in this room right now, so everyone's going to be judging
one of us is
Austin
good at it.
Butler with just the finest microscope that they could possibly
absolutely
find.
true.
And I would be hard pressed to find anyone that wasn't at least satisfied with his performance.
What a good point. What a very good point to make, Joker. That was a really good point. And again, like you said, expectations so very, very high. And there's an evolution of this person because he humanized somebody that I always think about. Like people think about Elvis as the polyester Elvis.
It's like a caricature.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
But
we're gonna hug later.
Oh, we're hugging.
Yeah. We're hugging right now.
Unfortunately, you won't be able to see this.
Yeah.
So.
If only we could make it visible.
Then we'll run one of us into a wall. We'll just see which one.
Yeah, that's what I really liked about Austin Butler's performance is that
he brought something. Yeah.
When I, at least, as not a huge, it's not. I don't dislike Elvis. I just never really dove that deep into Elvis.
Fair.
My relationship with Elvis is probably pretty typical for a lot of other people's relationship with Elvis, except I also listen to a lot of music.
Yeah.
What I really loved about Austin Butler is that from the get-go, it wasn't a caricature at all. It was an actual person.
It was a representation of it.
And then when he became the Elvis that I thought of in my mind, now I have better context for where this person came from, which I thought was brilliant.
I'm so happy you said that. I really am. I'm not being sarcastic. There's 3 different Elvises. There's Elvis in 1954 when he first got on stage, when he was barely figuring out what he was doing.
Dancing.
He was 19 years old. And then there's Elvis, went to the army, lost his mother, met Priscilla, comes back out of the army in 1960. And he's a movie star. Thank you. And there's a whole different body language to what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And then you got what I call karate polyester Elvis, where he's the body, he's doing this when he's singing, he's throwing kicks, and this kid is able to do all 3 versions of that. Like again, evolution is the word I would use. The evolution of this guy, he does it so very well.
Oh no, he did it amazing.
And he's effortlessly doing it. You're not catching it if you're not paying attention, because he's not overdoing it. You're not.
Yeah, it makes it feel like he's like actually like the real Elvis.
No,
not really.
As a guy who loves Elvis Presley and has loved him for a very long time, there's so many times I was watching where I forgot I was watching an actor.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll tell you what, Mama. And I'm like, oh, shit, it sounds just like him. And the kid's from Orange County, by the way.
For me, what made the performance and the transition, the evolution even more impressive is the pace of the movie itself. It was moving so quickly, yet every single time there would be, like you mentioned, any of these mates, when his mother passed, spoiler alert.
Yeah, Elvis dies at the end, by the
way. This is real life.
That's a huge turning point, and it was very clear. And then you saw his change, but
he learned guitar.
It was so fluid and believable.
Yeah, my brother always says. My brother hates Elvis Presley, by the way. My brother always said, he goes, never seen.
Bring him in.
He already left.
Yeah. I think he left because we're doing this. He was never the same after his mom died. He lost his moral compass. His dad, I hate to say it, and I don't want to swear too much in front of the Cub, but his dad was a pushover, and the movie does capture that.
He was lazy.
And the Colonel took advantage of him full on, because the only person that didn't trust the Colonel
was his mom.
Guess who? Yeah. She didn't. They took a while to sign because she wouldn't sign. She said, I don't trust him. I think he's going to take advantage of
She really had motherly instincts. This guy was basically making
You know what? You should have instincts to not interrupt the guy who owns the podcast.
I don't want to be fired again. That was a really close call.
We might have to run you into a wall there.
Not again.
I don't want to call Penny.
Please don't. I'm scared of her.
No, I can't get off the phone with her to call her. No. God damn it! I lost my place now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What were we saying? Oh, she didn't trust him. She goes, I think that man's going to take advantage of my boy.
Yeah.
And then Vernon, who's a lazy person, should have caught that.
Yeah.
He was like, let's sign. I'm ready to sign. Well, we're broke.
Money quick.
He's got money. Yeah. Very, very astute of you. And she didn't trust him. And then they ended up signing, and it was well for a while. And the shoot got sick. He went to the army, and then she passed. And then when he came back, he was a movie star. He was already starting to take pills, and it became the beginning of, I don't want to say a downward spiral, but the negative things started happening.
Sadness.
So go ahead, kid. Next point.
Okay, so next PowerPoint is, how did you like the portrayal of Elvis Presley?
I think I already covered that. You go ahead.
Okay, so
We'll go 1, 2, 3.
I thought that Austin Butler, I thought it was really good because like he had the accent down.
Mhm.
He had like he looked like him a decent amount, like the young him, not the older him. That kind of confused me, but still, that and like he had a very good accent. It was very like you could tell, like even how like my Uncle Mark said, oh, like sometimes I forgot I was even watching a movie. Yeah. Like that happened a lot, and like how he portrayed him, and like one scene actually made me cry, where he was in a limousine and like he was like talking to like his wife or his ex-wife.
Yeah, that actually happened, by the way.
I know that made me cry.
Yeah, it was sad.
Yeah,
and it's he didn't say anything, by the way.
Yeah,
like it was Priscilla's talking to him, and he's really just adjusting his glasses, and you can the sadness is just dripping off of him, All right, sorry, Joker.
The question is, how did I like the portrayal?
Yeah,
the portrayal. So I mean, it's gonna be. I'm not gonna rehash how impressive Austin Butler was in terms of just portraying him in itself. So I'm gonna be focusing a little bit more on the stylistic choices.
Okay, and you should probably go after Tom Hanks a little bit on this.
Oh, I can definitely talk about Tom Hanks. Yeah.
Start where you
Calm
start.
down. That's the next section.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. I let them ride my program, so this is my fault. It's not his fault. And but I didn't run into a wall 10 minutes ago. Go ahead.
Oh my god.
Go ahead. Joke it.
So the brilliance of Austin Butler aside, and with regards to the portrayal, I liked it a lot, but I have some questions that I would want to look into a little bit further to see whether or not I like it. So when it comes to the actual portrayal, the positives is that I did like that he was humanized, and I liked that you could see how he had become a caricature and why it almost seemed like he was a caricature, and you could see how Parker was a big part of that.
I think that we were talking off air as we were trying to get this ready, and Joker put it best, caricature. I think that most people that are younger than me, or even my age, think of Elvis as what I call polyester Elvis, the fat, bloated guy that, was kind of just almost laughable. And people don't understand how iconic this man was and what he did and revolutionized everything. And Ryan put that in terms better than I could have. That, this movie humanizes, you said humanizes, right? It puts him in context of where he was at the time. He was a 19-year-old kid who was infusing music that nobody had ever thought to put together in a time where this country was still segregated. He became a superstar when there was no such thing. The biggest star they ever had was Hank Williams, and he died, I think, 2 years before Elvis had signed with RCA.
What did I miss?
I don't know. Did you run into something?
Yeah.
He went to the Army for 2 years, and that was basically a spoiler alert, but that was really a colonel's ploy to kind of deprive the country of what they wanted from him, to keep people wanting him. He was a product, and that's going to be the end of my. When we're done today, that's what I'm going to end with.
Oh, definitely want to talk about that.
Thank you. And
heck yeah.
Then they completely do that. He comes back and he's polished for a minute, but he's stifled. And then he hits Vegas and he becomes a different guy. He gets to do what he wants for about 3 years. And I'll fill this in for you guys because it's not all in the movie. And then there was this, the inevitable sad fall, that most people know. But Ryan hit it perfect. I'm sorry, Joker hit it perfectly that you know, people just remember the polyester fat guy, and they don't realize that this is a man that revolutionized
Music.
movies, pop culture.
Funko Pops.
I don't like you.
It's not very
Okay,
nice.
shut up.
Okay.
Race relations.
Race, yeah. I mean, he dressed differently. His hair was different. Everything was different about him. And what people don't understand is that it was not an accident. He created this image that he wanted.
Yeah.
And for being a shy kid from Tupelo, Mississippi, this was not an accident. This was everything he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And he pulled it off, man.
That's something that I found surprising, pleasantly surprising, is that now. So I kind of thought of Elvis as an industry plant, which we'll get to after the next question.
Yes, sir.
For those that don't know, industry plant is basically someone that is picked by the music industry, which we know is incredibly lucrative and has a lot of money, and then they try to fashion them into something that
They're not.
is just a product that
Marketable
they sell. It's just a product that they can sell.
Which he did become at one point, but it wasn't.
He became that, yes.
But it wasn't his idea.
It wasn't his idea, and then you could see the genesis of the Elvis persona, and it was actually
I
him.
did not know what that meant. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's why we're here to learn.
Yep.
So I can fill this all in.
Thinking out loud.
Thinking aloud.
Oh wow, sorry.
God, I'm gonna fire you. I mean,
I literally had to leave the room midway during this just because of Penny.
It was the best
She
part of the
told me-
podcast.
She told me
It was brilliant.
I almost got fired because of him, the Joker.
oh, we didn't clear it with her, did we? God damn. Oh, I'm gonna get a phone call.
I'm gonna get fired, huh?
Okay, let's do your third.
Oh,
point.
sorry.
Oh,
really
yeah,
quickly.
sorry.
No,
I didn't,
right, go.
Yeah, I
This
didn't
is my
get
graveyard.
into the negatives of the portrayal of Elvis.
Yes.
So this is pretty typical Baz Luhrmann. So I knew from a stylistic point of view that this was to be expected, but it's very much just Parker bad, Elvis good, and then that's essentially how it was portrayed throughout the entire movie, with some hiccups where Elvis is not quite as perfect. However, I suspect, and I don't really know for sure, so hopefully I can get some clarification.
You will.
Historical clarification.
Probably.
But I suspect that Elvis wasn't, just the angel that was.
No, it was complicit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a big one is when it came to the drugs itself. So yes, he had like a personal doctor that was just there, but at the same time, what contribution did Elvis have within that as well? And then also the people that he was surrounded with. At some point, Elvis had to know that he had some sort of power. He could choose who he wanted to be around him, yet he still chose to have particular people. He chose to still stay in Vegas when he did actually have a little bit more power. So yeah, it made it seem like he was just a helpless kid. But at some point, he's like in his 30s. So
this is a really great point, and the problem, and Ryan and I spoke about. Is that he put everybody on his payroll, like his high school friends. He got them to work for him, and he said, "Don't worry, my dad will take care of you. My dad will pay you." And so then his dad was notoriously cheap, and so they paid him very little, kept him kind of, wanting more, needing more. So when Elvis started to do what he was doing, he was a very generous guy, and he was generous at heart. He really was. But he'd pay for somebody's car or pay for somebody's house. But then when they're like, "Hey man, I think you're overdoing it with the drugs," he'd be like, "Who just bought you that house? Who co-signed on that house? Who paid for your marriage?" And they would be like,
"Who got you your job?"
Yeah, pretty much. And so they were complicit. And I don't think that was entirely an accident. I think he knew what he was doing. I mean, he was not a stupid kid. I mean, definitely a freaking young hillbilly kid at one point, but he was a smart enough guy, and he knew, because a lot of people tried to help him, and he would not listen. He was Elvis Presley, and that was just it.
Yeah.
Like there's even I was telling Joker, he became friends with like the cops in Denver, like good friends. I have a funny story about that. By the way, I have 1,100 stories. I'm not gonna do it.
Please don't.
Yeah. Shut up. You're here because I demanded you to be here.
No, Penny found me off the street. That's how I got here.
He's chained to the computer. He's not allowed to leave until I say.
I don't get fed.
Yeah. But they saw that there was clearly something wrong, and they said, "Hey, man, we can get you into a facility. Nobody has to know. You know, we'll keep it private. You know, and they were cops. They're like, we won't let the reporters or we won't let anybody around." And he got pissed off at them, and he never spoke to them again. So there's a
That's
choice.
unreasonable.
There was a choice that he made. So I mean, I believe he was exploited, and I believe he got manipulated. But he also made choices that he could have done better for himself. Put it that way. And there was a multitude of opportunities for him to do better. There's a lot of people that were looking out for him, and he chose to do what he did. And so it sucks, but well, again, the epilogue is going to be a long one. It's going to be me just beating Joker's brains into the dust about why he is and was what he was.
Yeah,
But-
and then from a movie production and stylistic point, I have a lot to say because I do know that bothers a lot of people. But I'm gonna defend the stylistic
that
decisions
now?
of Baz. Why not? We got some momentum.
What's the third bullet point?
Okay,
We're only 20 minutes in, so
Third bullet point. Colonel, how do you like the portrayal of Colonel Tom Parker?
okay. I'm gonna let you guys go. Spoiler alerts. Go ahead.
Who first?
You always start, buddy.
Okay. Me and Uncle Mark were talking about this earlier. We did not like how they made like the accent, because like sometimes like it was supposed to be a good scene, but in my opinion, like something like a serious scene, it just ruins it because I hear, me and you were alike, like in a stupid accent. So, because he didn't talk like that.
He didn't.
Other than that, I did believe that he was a con man. And midway during the movie, if this was happening in real life, I would like just like punch him in the face, like, why are you doing this? Like just like pretty much just do that. But no, he did good.
It was a good performance, but you didn't like.
I just didn't like the accent. That was
Okay.
that
Joke.
ruined it for me. You.
Joker.
All right, so let me just preface my answer by asking a question.
Sorry.
Okay, Parker, very despicable. That I learned from watching the movie. Despicable human being. Now, consider this. Why is it that you think Baz
Joker
Luhrmann...
says consider this.
Why do you think that Baz Luhrmann chose for Tom Hanks to play that role? One of the most beloved, not just actors, but just people of all time.
Forrest Gump.
And then if you consider the way that Baz portrays villains and how he likes to portray villains in the past, they're honestly they're just kind of ridiculous. Yeah, they're just kind of ridiculous because that's his style. It makes the subject more digestible by not making it so serious because it's something that you can laugh about. And you got Tom Hanks, a brilliant actor, and then you see him, and then the accent is just god awful. I noticed it immediately. I
noticed in the trailer.
Yeah, I noticed it immediately. And then not only that, let's take a look at the makeup. Everyone else, brilliant makeup, and then costuming, and then for Parker,
that too.
It's just absolutely ridiculous.
He actually does look like him, to be quite honest with you.
I looked him up, and he does look like him. But at the same time, could they have made him
like side by side? Yeah.
Look more accurate? Absolutely.
Okay.
Did they choose to do that? I'm going to say that they did choose to do that because it was absolutely ridiculous.
Here's where I'm going to agree with the Joker, and then I'm going to disagree category with everybody because I know everything and no one knows anything. What was Elvis in his head? He was a superhero. What does a superhero need?
A villain?
I disagree.
A nemesis?
It's at least within the context of the movie. It's not that he was a superhero. To Parker, Elvis and him are literally the same entity in his mind.
I don't agree with you, but
according to within the context of the movie, it's a theme that's just consistently repeated throughout, and then it ends with that.
Here's where the Joker is absolutely correct. He's 110% correct. This is coming from a guy who's like listened to Elvis since he was a young man. They both needed each other. They both would not have succeeded without each other. And Elvis, even when he knew that Colonel was kind of fucking him, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to swear. Even when he was taking advantage of him, he always felt like he was like this talisman, like it was this good luck charm, and he wouldn't leave him, even when people were telling him not to deal with him anymore. So you're very right about that. So they kind of made, but I think in a movie, you know what? I'll let you finish, and I'll say what I need to say.
All right. So I mean, I would have to break down the entire plot and story structure of the entire movie, but then two that are the most important, of course, is how does it open up, and then how does it end, and then also you have a key scene in the middle where it's essentially monologues of Parker,
Yeah.
and then consider also the a casual Elvis fan is like myself.
Yeah. See,
And why is it that I have this view of Elvis, and a lot of it, according to the movie at least, has to do with Parker. So what we see of Elvis is what Parker wants the masses to see of Elvis, and in that
And
sense,
that was really
brought
clever,
up
by the
over
way.
and over again that they are. He says like we are. Basically, he says quite literally that they're the same person. I don't remember verbatim, but he's saying that
We
we're
are
the
the
same
same,
person.
you and I.
Yeah, exactly. He's not saying that we're the same kind of people. He's saying
Please never do
we
that
are
accent
the
again.
same.
I
Yeah,
hated that
yeah.
accent.
It's
Yes,
a really subtle, but
We
if
are
you
the
relook at
same,
the
you
dialogue
and I.
again, you'll notice.
Them people, they don't understand this. Can you stop doing that, Tom, please? You're from Oakland. You know, like, cut it out. You know,
I'm sorry.
really great Joker. Really, really great. Everything you said is very, it's on point.
Yes.
And so, where were we, kid? Like, so we can bring it home. Because we have an ad sponsor, and he's reminding me, but I got to finish this first. But
You want to do it first? Or?
no, you're gonna do it. Don't leave. What are you doing?
This is right here, close to the mic. Okay. So today.
No, we're not doing that.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we're doing a sponsorship. We really don't have a choice. So we're doing a sponsorship for our Penny Lane, right?
Penny Lane.
Penny Lane. You are definitely a totally legit recording studio that's not keeping us hostage.
Yeah.
And as a bonus,
And we're doing this by
you
choice.
you get to use the bathroom once a day.
Yeah.
No, sorry, once a month.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else?
Wait, you get to use it once a month?
Wait.
Oh, I gotta read my contract. Okay, go on.
Okay.
We'll
And
get some background.
You get a what else? Oh, our awesome boss Penny that totally isn't keeping us hostage. And
Yeah,
not
she's
feeding
never
us.
hit me either.
She's totally never thrown a cane near my head
Yeah.
just because I accidentally messed up a
She
line.
lets me have girlfriends and talk on the phone.
Yeah. She lets me actually leave the room. I'm
Yeah.
totally not chained up to something right now.
I totally can change my clothes whenever I want.
I totally have been fed for like
Penny
a month.
Lane for all your needs.
Uh,
Okay, so what we're talking about what? What were we talking about?
Turn off Tom Parker.
I'm just gonna go about Tom Hanks and I'm gonna go full on. So I think in a movie you have the Easter egg. You have to have that reveal, and I think that's what they built the movie around, was the reveal that the man's name was Andreas von Kujic or whatever.
That was his name?
Yeah, he was a Dutch immigrant. He was an illegal alien. And that's the reason why Elvis, as big as he was, could have been a lot bigger. And I think that was a big theme of the movie. And I totally understand it. You
Plot point. I don't know about theme. I would say plot point.
Okay, plot point.
Okay, good.
We'll go with that. But I saw the trailer, and as a guy who lives, eats, and breathes Elvis Presley, the minute I heard his accent, I was like, I knew where they were going with it, and I fucking hated it. And it was such a distraction to me. It was hard for me to really enjoy the movie that I wanted to, because every time he talked, I was like, this is stupid.
However, at the same time, I mean, everyone knows that Elvis dies, right?
Yeah.
So people that are going to be watching this,
allegedly,
a lot of people are going to be knowing about.
Don't even start me on that.
A lot of people are going to be knowing about the story. So
Yeah.
It's not about the story.
Wait,
it's
you
about
get
the portrayal. And then if you look at also a lot of this is
Not
why Baz
anymore,
was
thanks to you.
perfect for this.
Oh, can't get my bad.
If you look at all of the stories that he chose to do, Romeo plus Juliet, Moulin Rouge, Great Gatsby, you know the ending. It's always going to be a tragedy. Yeah, it's always going to be a tragedy, and then the twists are not as important as the theming and the style.
I think they needed, this is where Joker and I are going to disagree. I thought it was a little too stylistic because it's a biopic. It's a real guy. It's a guy that actually happened. Now, that guy has enough of a mythos that you don't really have to put too much of a gloss on it. But having said that, with the exception of a few things, he did a really good job because the guy was bigger than life, and Baz Luhrmann portrayed him as bigger than life.
Yeah.
This guy died on a gold toilet, man. That's not. It's not even.
He had a gold toilet?
Yeah, and he sure did. And he had a heart attack on it.
What's funny about this movie is that's
Most rich way
actually
to die.
the least stylistic of any of Baz Luhrmann's films, in my opinion, and which is brilliant because he didn't need to stylize anything because the story of Elvis is stylistic in itself already.
Didn't like the when he went the animation part. I think he punched the first 15 minutes of the movie, and a lot of people, and I know Joker's going to disagree with me on this. Everybody I've talked to thought it was just too fast. It was too much. Just push. Go ahead.
Am I the only one that found it really weird whenever he like went into the casino void? I did. I was so confused.
It wasn't. It's not what I would do, but I kind of understood it because
it's trying to show how.
Well, because at that point he's dying and he's
imagining himself in his wonderland.
Looking back at and he's ready, like the movie, which is really smart, by the way, Joker. And what Baz Luhrmann was doing is like he's on his deathbed trying to justify what he did, which I thought is a really clever way to approach the story. I really do think that would.
I have another thing, Pat. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
My brother pointed this out. He used to be in the podcast, but then he went missing because of Penny. Okay.
Yeah. Don't do that because she calls me when you do that.
Yes, I do. Okay. So he brought this up when we were watching the movie. Basically, the Colonel is guilt tripping you into thinking you killed Elvis.
Yeah.
And I thought that was hilarious.
I did it all for you and him. I did it all for you. That's clever, by the way. That's where Joker has a very good point because that's a really smart approach. Because at the end of the day, you realize this guy's a fucking asshole. Even now, he's dying, and he's still trying to justify what he did. And
he does. Which is funny is the very, very end of the movie. So he opens up the movie, so he's framing the entire narrative, and he ends it. So he's literally telling the story of Elvis, which to him is the truth. And then, which is brilliant, is that because it's actually in the movie, whatever he says basically goes. And that's kind of the idea. I think the major theme actually is the genesis of the music industry taking advantage of artists as we know it today.
He killed his kid in the process, you know, like. And no, and it would be what he would say if he was alive right now. He would sit there and say it wasn't his fault, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I didn't kill him. You guys killed him.
Yeah, you guys did it. It wasn't me.
You know that love.
Within less than 24 hours of Elvis dying, he renegotiated his deal with his dad, with Elvis's dad.
Oh, that's.
And his dad was a mess. Just a mess. They don't. For those of you that don't know, Elvis had his mom and his dad, and that was it. It was the three of them. You know, there was never anyone else. You know, eventually, obviously, he got married and had a kid, but it was Elvis and his mom and his dad. And it was Elvis and his mom. And then when his mom died, all he had left was his dad. And they were super close. And so he dies, and his dad is a blubbering, wailing mess. You know, when they're taking him off in an ambulance, he's like, I'll be there, son. I'll be there, son. Stay with me, son. Within 24 hours, this fucking guy shows up with a contract and says, sign this. We want to make sure we take care of your son's music. I want to make sure his legacy is intact. And all he was doing was making sure he fucking still had his stamp on the check.
Oh, my God.
It was terrible. He was a horrible human being, man. Horrible human being.
Not as bad as Tom Parker.
But what would he... It was Tom Parker.
I thought you were talking about the dad.
The dad was in grief, and I understand that you didn't understand what I'm saying.
Oh,
he was in grief, and he didn't know what he was doing. They shoved papers in front of him, and he signed them. You know, they're probably still trying to figure out his funeral arrangements, and this fucking awful man, Carnival Barker, is shoving papers in front of him, and just get away from me. I gotta go see my boy, you know?
Yeah.
And, but this is a guy, this is a true story, people, because we're gonna have to wrap this up soon, who had a ring where he welded a nickel to the bottom of his ring. I'm showing my nephew right now and you can't see. So when he was giving change, he would show them he was giving him 15 cents, but he was robbing them from a nickel every time.
Oh my God.
So they were seeing him. This is the kind of man this was. He stole. He was a thief. He was a
parasite.
He really was a snowman.
And so what I was telling Joker is that he had gotten into two managing partnerships, and they both ended in litigation. And he said, the next guy I'm going to control everything. He's gonna sign his life over me. I'm gonna control what he says, what he does, who he sings with, who he works with, who plays on his records. Everything's gonna be mine. And this 19-year-old kid, son of a lazy sharecropper, who was just trying to buy. Stop doing that.
Okay.
Trying to buy his mother a house, and he took him for everything.
Granted.
He took him for everything. And the movie kind of shows it, but there is a real thing. And I'll stop talking because I can do this all day.
You have.
Yeah, no, you guys have all talked. And I honestly, you're about to get kicked out of the fucking thing. Joker can do really well without you.
Please don't.
When he's at one point, Elvis realized, because enough people were telling him, like, that he's screwing you, man. Like, he wasn't allowed to work with the musicians that he wanted. He wasn't allowed to record the songs that he wanted. He couldn't do the movies that he wanted. And he said, you know what, the hell with you, I'm done with you. And then the colonel said, and this is the whole joke about Penny, he's like, go read your contract. You can fire me if you want, but from here on out, every dollar you make, 25 cents is going to the colonel. And so he took off. He hired 4 attorneys. They came back and said, yeah, he's right. He's got you. You're done?
Oh, yeah.
And so he went back to him knowing that the guy was screwing him because he basically had no choice. Another thing, on top of the pills, that guy spent money like you and I breathe air. Elvis was buy Cadillacs because he was bored. That's absolutely true. It's a great story. And then, okay, I'm done after this. I need to let these guys talk. He was at a Cadillac store because he ordered Cadillacs by the dozens. Like for Christmas, I'm like, everybody gets Cadillac. You get a blue one, you get a green one, you get a yellow one. And there was a lady there who had her face pressed to the glass looking at the Cadillacs. And he walks up behind her and he goes, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm looking at this beautiful car. He's like, oh, why don't you buy one? And she goes, oh, I could never afford one. He goes, yeah, well, how about I just buy one? I'll buy a Cadillac. And then she goes, what are you talking? She turned around and it was Elvis freaking Presley. And he did it to be nice. Like, but he spent money like you and I could buy candy. He bought this lady a car.
I'm pretty sure that's what Penny does.
Oh, he was, yeah. I need a new car. He was going broke. And that's why they kept charting him out to the road when he was very sick and he needed help. Colonel was in debt and he had obligations and Elvis needed money. That's the reason why Graceland is a museum, is because when he died and everything pushed over to Priscilla, she opened the books up and he was flat broke. And she realized in order to keep Graceland open, she had to make a museum where it could bring in money instead of spend money. Okay, so I'm done now. Let's go to the next point.
Wait, we only had 3 points.
Okay, well then, all right. Well, let's mash it up. Let's close out strong. You want to start, buddy, or you get the Joker to do it? I want to hear what the Joker has to say, to be honest.
Yeah, you can start off first, and I'll go second.
Is there a talking point?
No, you can just
It's closing points of what you want to say.
I'm probably gonna get fired for this, but we'll let you have free speech of the entire movie right now.
I'm really happy that he's here. So do what you want, kid.
Okay, really quickly, I wanted to backtrack just a little bit before I give my outro in defense of the rush beginning, because I have heard from several people that I've spoken to that they thought that it was rushed, even people that were Baz Luhrmann fans. So his style is to essentially do that, incredibly fast paced, but I thought that was good. It immersed you into how quickly and nonstop Elvis's life. At least it seemed to be. I mean, he was.
No, you're right.
Yeah, exactly right. As soon as he started, he never stopped. He was like a candle that was burning, and it's for the entire movie, you're just watching that candle burn all the way down to the end.
Wax, yeah.
And the speed that it happens. 2 things from a movie perspective. If you watch a lot of movies, I mean, we don't need another like fucking origin story. So there's some things that could be dramatized and they could drag it out for like a 5-10 minute scene if they wanted to. I'm glad they didn't, and instead they just blew through the things stylistically of how his career started to elevate really, really quickly. And then what's important though is for Baz's style, when it slows down, that makes the poignant and more emotional scenes hit harder.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, kid.
Um,
I'm gonna finish that.
this.
I'm the closer on there. Coffee is for
Okay. So you get coffee?
No,
Okay.
I
So.
I don't drink coffee actually.
Oh, okay. So I can't do as good as Joker, but I can
Joker's
stay
the
with
man.
one. Yeah, I can stay with one thing. I'm pretty sure the entire Elvis movie ripped off the entire Penny Lane movie.
No.
It's conspiracy though.
Uh.
Okay. Then we had one main character. We had one person that was controlling everything. Penny. Okay. That's it pretty much.
We had a tragic hero named Dark Bleno.
Yeah. Okay. But I thought the movie was really good. I like the points where like, I like how like they segmented through like, oh, this is him from War, this is him from, this is like its entire thing. I do think it should have been a longer movie and like part like no.
I think we can all agree on that.
Like 2 parts.
Oh yeah.
Like 2 parts, 3 hours. Okay. And I think this might just be my own like thing I wanted. I wanted them to like further talk about the relationship between him and what's his name, Nixon, because that one I barely knew anything about their like relationship. That might just be me.
They didn't have a relationship. They met one day.
Oh. Well, I still thought it would have been cool to meet him.
It's okay. You want to hear what I have to say?
Yes. No. Please. Okay. I thought it was cool how they like referenced like how they were like kind of saying like how new Elvis, like the old Elvis, he was being hated because he's dancing like a black person, and
appropriating other culture.
Yeah, then
which is bullshit, by the way.
And I liked how like his fans were like, "Oh, we want the old Elvis, we don't want the new Elvis."
Yeah, and that actually happened.
Yeah, no, that actually happened.
Steve Allen really tried to change him, and then he went back to Memphis and said, "Those people in New York ain't gonna change me none," and that actually did happen.
Yeah,
that was not a cinematic.
Awesome, that's super badass.
My favorite scene from the entire movie. This isn't because I thought this was a good scene. I just liked it because like how much like the stakes were up. Like I hadn't known anything about Elvis, so when I saw like him about to sign off the thing, like he's basically selling Elvis to the hotel for like 5 years.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought he was gonna have like a change of heart because I didn't know that much about the Elvis story. He does know. I'm pointing at Uncle Mark.
Hey, yeah, thank you.
That genuinely shocked me because I knew he was an awful person from like literally first couple of hours.
He was an evil man.
But I didn't know he was that awful of a person. He pretty much just sold someone's soul for money and gambling. No wonder freaking he died broke. I find that funny though. They both died broke.
His mom never No, he died very comfortably, son.
Elvis?
No.
Oh, comfortable.
He was in litigation. He settled, but he died nice and comfortable. He outlived everybody, including Vernon. He died in like 90.
Wasn't he like 60 when like you first met Elvis?
I don't know the age, to be honest.
Wait, okay.
But he was an older guy.
That's confusing me. Okay, now we're going to the main person with the most screen time. He made well, that's a lie. He didn't make the podcast. He helped make. Penny's using him for content.
This is my podcast.
This, is it really?
Yeah. All right.
Are you getting paid for it?
She's
getting paid for it.
You know what? It cost me 5 minutes of. That's $40 from Penny. Every time you interrupt, I get fined. No, that's the problem. Don't get paid. You get fined.
Okay, so you're gonna take my place later.
Let's try to fire through this.
Okay, yeah, my bad.
One thing that Joker says that's really succinctly good is that it should have been 2 movies, and I thought it should have been 2 movies. And spoiler, I heard it's a 4-hour cut that there's gonna be available at some point, and when it happens, I'll be the first one to have it.
Oh yeah, give me that.
Because that's the thing, and that's what I'm gonna try to speed through this, guys. His mom's hardly in the movie. There's nobody more important in his life than his mother.
They're making a 4-hour cut?
There is a 4-hour cut. They just haven't released it yet.
I'm rubbing my dimes together.
Can you please stop? They shot a lot of things that they didn't put in the movie. It's a 2.5-hour movie. That's why I'm telling you, it should have been 2 movies. They would have probably made more money if they you said, part 1 and part 2. Like there's a reason why Star Wars has 8 freaking episodes. Secondly, I really need you to stop distracting me, man. I think that it doesn't really something that Joker hinted at that's very good is that I'm going to be very careful how I say this. Elvis grew up in a segregated Memphis. Beale Street was the main street of what was cultural, activity, music wise in Memphis. He was the only white guy that could walk into the segregated area of Memphis and not get messed with because they knew him and they knew he loved the music. He wasn't going there to mess around, to pick a fight, or to try to pick up on a woman. He went there because he loved the music. Before he was a famous guy. A lot of people don't understand this. And the movie touches on this, and I think people don't understand this well enough. He knew B.B. King when neither one of them was famous. And he went to certain shows that they did in Memphis that were for African Americans. And he's the only guy allowed to be there, but they wouldn't let him sing. But he was allowed to show up and be on, in the crowd. I'm sorry, on stage. He'd wave, and then he'd leave, and they would go nuts. And he crossed platforms, racial diversity, that a lot of things that not a lot of people could have done. A lot of people think he's like a happy accident. He was not a happy accident. This is something that he meant to do, and he did the music that he loved. What he did is he took country music, blues, and gospel, and he fused it into something that was completely different than anything anybody ever heard before, and he was good at it. Yeah, he wiggled. Yeah, he wore pink stuff, but there was something there that he definitely made something. He created something. I do believe it should have been 2 different movies because there's 3 Elvises. I was telling your kid that. Yeah. Yes, sir. We're gonna cut it right now. He was 1954 Wiggly Elvis. Then he was after the army. He was movie star Elvis, which they don't touch on really much. And then he was what I call polyester karate Elvis, who was doing this, And then obviously there was a decline. But Austin Butler does a great job of portraying all 3 of those guys.
Oh, heck yeah.
He's so very, very good. And I'm a guy I was ready to be disappointed, put it that way. I had thought there's no way this guy can pull it off. He was better than I could have hoped for. He was so very, very good. But it's a complex character. And I watched the movie 3 times now. And if you pull away from the, you're not allowed to leave. The stupid Tom Hanks Dutch accent. No, it's very clear that there was this love-hate thing between them. Like they loved each other, they hated each other, they needed each other. And that movie, the Baz Luhrmann does a great job, and Tom Hanks does a great job of kind of expressing that. There's a reason why they didn't leave each other, even though they both knew they were bad. And Joker points out something. Elvis, to me, was victimized, but he wasn't entirely a victim. He knew what he was doing. And he could have stopped what he was doing. And a lot of people tried to help him, and he refused to let them help him. So I think it should have been 2 movies.
Oh, it should have.
Elvis's mom is hardly in the movie, which is stupid. Priscilla's hardly in the movie, which is stupid. His movie career is hardly mentioned, which is stupid. He made 31 movies. I know, because I have like 25 of them. He made 33 total, but 2 of them were concert movies. You shut up. And
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. There's a lot left on the cutting room floor. That's why I want to see what that 4-hour cut is. Didn't like the pacing of Baz Luhrmann, but at the same time, Joker brings up a good point. There was so much to cover, and he was an overnight sensation. He was the first one. He was the first one, and I think Baz Luhrmann was trying to communicate that to us, what it was like to just be. Nowadays,
to feel it and see it.
We have Instagram and we have TikTok people and all that shit. In those days, I'm sorry, you had to drive to the next town. They would perform, strap a bass to the car, and drive to the next gig and do it again. That's why a lot of those guys ended up on pills. Elvis did that in the army. He didn't do it before. The Beatles used to play 8-hour gigs in Hamburg, and you had to be peppy, whether it was 12 or 8. You had to be peppy. So they started popping pills. So
LSD.
Johnny Cash is the no.
No.
Johnny Cash is a. You're young, son. Just don't.
Okay.
That comes later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
How about you just don't?
Okay.
Johnny Cash. That was what got to him too, because the road was hard for these guys, you know. And Joker brings up a good point of that. I think Boswell is trying to capture that about how like it just because you don't know you don't know when it ends. It could end tomorrow, you know, and so he did a good job of that. But I think that he glossed over some things I would have liked to have seen more. So I'm interested to see what the 4-hour cut would look like. And I really enjoyed the movie. I really wish Tom Hanks didn't do the stupid accent.
That ruined it.
Yeah. Austin Butler deserves every award available. We'll make one up. My cub here will make one up. We'll mail it to him. We'll say not a bomb, you know, when we mail it to him.
That sounds super suspicious.
There's no way that could go wrong. It was a good movie. I encourage you to watch it. So here's the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to let these guys sign off. If you have HBO Max, you can watch the movie. There's also a documentary called The Searcher, Elvis Presley. It's a 2-parter. I encourage you strongly to watch that documentary because it fleshes out everything that what Baz Luhrmann was trying to show you. It does it, and it interviews all of the guys that were still alive at the time that the movie came out like 5 years ago. The doc. Jerry Schilling, Priscilla, obviously, and everybody that was still around about what it was like to be with Elvis. The second part is a little more about his personal life, but the first part is about what it was like when he was putting it all together.
Oh.
When he was putting it all together and when he was hitting the road and then when he met Colonel. And that, to me, I watched it this morning. It was, no, I've seen it before.
Oh.
I encourage anybody, in fact, I'm asking you, please watch that. It'll show you what Baz Luhrmann and what Joker was trying to express to you. That will reinforce what Joker's saying, because Joker's not wrong at all. I have a difference of opinion on a couple of things, but he's absolutely right on 99% of what he said here. And I am going to sign off. I'm so very happy that we got the Joker on this way.
Oh, no, yeah, that was a genius move from me. I'm going to get a promotion.
And by the way, the Cub did it. It was...
That's recruiting right there.
Yeah, I can't take credit. I will later when he's not looking. When I talk to my boss, I'm going to say it was me.
That's a real Colonel Parker move right there.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Oh, I was excited about my penny raise.
Oh,
like once in a penny.
A penny? All right, sign off, guys.
Okay, this is... You want to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, this is the Cub reporter signing off.
And you are?
Oh, I'm the... I write the notes and all that stuff.
You're thinking aloud.
Oh, I'm thinking aloud. Sorry.
It's a Joker.
For my sign off, I just want to say I love music. I love movies. To be able to be invited to talk about a movie about music is an absolute joy to me. So thank you guys so much for having me. This is the Joker signing off.
I am so grateful that he was here. I'm so grateful for the kid. And we have to throw out a shout out to the mechanic who made it happen.
He's not with us.
No.
Well, he is, but...
You don't say it like
we're
this.
almost done and you're still interrupting me.
I'm sorry.
I'm like 5 sentences away from ending this and you're interrupting me. And now I don't know what I was going to say. I hate this one. I like the other one.
Which one you're pointing at?
I love you guys very much. Please hit the like and the sub. Watch the movie. Watch the documentary. And look at this team I got. Who's better?
Remember to check into the sponsor. Okay.
Yeah. I'm thinking aloud. Let's go.
Can't even end it.
Yeah.
Calm down.
Uh-oh.
We're